So NEAR currently finds itself trading below both EMA levels, and when you compare it to the likes of Bitcoin and Cardano and Ethereum, etc., all those assets are trading above both EMA levels. And bear in mind, this is on the weekly chart. And so this could mean that NEAR is moving at its own pace, which could be a good thing. And reason being, it could mean that it's not heavily reliant on how other assets are moving. And so when you look at this price action, what's forming right now is a WX bar structure, where we have a W wave, an X wave, and a Y wave. And if I go back in time, what you can see is in the previous bull run, we ended up reaching $20.60. And in this bear market that we all endured, we ended up bottoming out at 97.1 cents. And so it's looking like we could see the recent all-time high be broken. And we set a new record for NEAR. And within this W wave, we ended up having a 5-wave structure that formed, where we had a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. And so because the wave W was made up of 5 waves, that means that the wave Y will also need to be made up of 5 waves. And here you can see that we had this run to the upside, which took place from October of 2023 up until March of 2024, where we ended up reaching $9.01. And then we saw this quick to move to the downside, where we ended up reaching $1.79. And so this run to the upside looks to have formed the wave 1, which was also made up of 5 waves. And then we had this corrective move to the downside to complete the wave 2, which is made up of a WXY structure. And then so we could potentially be within a wave 3 right now. And then we have a wave 4 and wave 5 that will play out in the next few months or the next couple of years to then complete the Y wave. Now, as far as the Y wave goes, the Y wave would typically retrace anywhere between 1 to 1.226 of the W wave. So if I bring in the fib tool, and bring this to the wrap position, and so the Y wave has the potential to reach anywhere between $38 to $90. So if I draw that region in, this could be a key target for this Y wave. Now, of course, the minimum requirement is for the Y wave to reach the 61.8% retracement level, and that level sits at $9.38. And so when you look at where NEAR is in comparison to where this level is at $9.38, NEAR has the potential to surge around 200% or just over 200%. Now, we haven't retraced towards the 61.8% retest level, given that we ended up reaching $9.01. So we fell short of that target. And so it's still possible that we see that continuation to the upside where we then retrace towards that level as a minimum requirement. But I'm looking out for NEAR to tap into this region here. And should that be the case, then we could see gains of around 1,000% to around 3,000%. Now, one scenario that could take place is we have the Y wave that truncates and we get rejected at the all-time high at $20. And should that be the case, then again, we could see gains of around 600%. So whichever way you look at it, there's still potential to make gains, especially for those that missed out on this recent move to the upside that we witnessed over the past month or so, where we're seeing gains of around 72.95%. And so, yeah, if I remove this, and I talked about how, given that the W wave was made up of 5 waves, and therefore the Y wave will also need to be made up of 5 waves. If I bring in a fib tool and target out the wave 3, now the minimum requirement for the wave 3 would be the 1.618 level of the wave 1. So if I bring out the fib tool once again, and bring this to over here, and so here you can see that the 1.618 level sits at, we'll call it $66. to complete the wave 3. And so I am looking out for this structure to play out, where we then retrace towards the 1.618 level. And from the current price of near to that level, we'll be looking at gains of around 2,000%. And then shortly after, we'll be looking out for that retracement, followed by a final posterior upside to then complete the Y wave. So yeah, there is a good opportunity to make some decent profits on near, even if you did miss out on this recent move to the upside. And if I go on the 4-hour chart, and what's interesting about this is from where we are to the local bottom, we're looking at a move of around, we'll call it 40%. If we round it up, then personally I don't anticipate this taking place, where we see this huge drop to the downside, where we then break past this level. And worst case scenario, I do anticipate us potentially retracing towards the 50 MA or the 200 DMA, but then I will be looking out for that bounce to the upside, where we then break past the strong high that's been signaled on Smart Money Concept. And when that happens, that will then trigger a change of character and a break of structure, which will then further confirm that we are on a bullish trend. And this weak low that's been signaled will then change to a strong low, meaning that that will then put us in a position to where it's possible that we ended up confirming this wave 2, and we'll then be within this wave 3, where that wave 3 will then retrace towards that $66 mark. And if we do then retrace towards that 1.618 level, then of course that will then confirm the 5-wave structure, and that will also mean that there's an opportunity to go even higher, given that we have the wave 5 to play out. And that wave 5 will depend on how deep the wave 4 goes, and the deeper the wave 4 goes, the higher the wave 5 will go. And so it will be interesting to see just how high the wave 5 will go. And if we were to extend beyond this region and retrace towards the 1.618 level, then that will then trigger a 5-wave structure as opposed to a WXY structure, meaning that there's an opportunity to make even higher gains. But again, this is not something that I'm anticipating to take place in the next few weeks. This is a long-term play where it could play out in the next few months or the next couple of years. And so yeah, that's my update on NEAR. Hopefully you found it useful. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.